In my last video, I mentioned that there is another tool that you can use in Alteryx instead of using multi-field, multi-row formulae. I just wanted to quickly go over what that was for your own edification if you're interested. It isn't critical. When you're actually turning in the assignment for Chapter 3, you should go through and use the multi-field rows a bunch of different times, filtering on true after you create the check and updating the fields each time. But I think it's valuable to see another approach to doing it. So if we go back to where we created first 10 and last 10 for year bucket, we can use a tool called Crosstab. The Crosstab tool works just like Crosstab does in Excel or SPSS. It turns a set of rows into, or it pivots the rows that it has from being multiple rows with the same data to having additional columns that represent different data types and allowing you to aggregate it. So in these two Crosstab tools that I'm pulling out of here, I'm grouping by name. The columns will be based on the values in the year bucket. And then for one of these, the value in the new column will be the sum of female. The other will be the sum of male. So that will give us rows with names, columns with either first 10 or last 10, and then inside each cell in that, there will be the sum of how many male or female babies were assigned that name. The next tool I'm using is the join tool. I'm joining name on name because we're interested in matching across names. And for the columns I'm selecting, I am making sure that I don't need name twice, so I uncheck it from right. And I'm renaming it so that I can be certain that I remember what is what. So left is where female is coming in, because we have the female crosstab going into left. So I'm naming this female first, female last, instead of what's coming in first 10 and last 10 from left. I do a similar thing with right, and then I make sure that any remaining columns and the name for right are unchecked. After that, I'm imputing again to replace nulls with zeros, and then I'm running a filter. The filter that I've created for this is a little complicated because it uses some elaborate logic, but basically I've got parentheses for the two possibilities. A swap can occur if it was not used by females in the beginning and was used by males, but in the later case it was used by females and not by males. Similarly, you can reverse male and female in that in order to do it. So what we've got here is if female first was 0 and male first was greater than 0, and female last was greater than 0 while male last was equal to 0, then we know it's one of the swaps. It's in parentheses because all four of these statements have to be true together in order for it to be a swap. I then just repeated it down here, swapping what was a greater than and what was an equal to. And then when we get the output in our browse tool, we find that the names are exactly what we saw when we ran it, following all of the instructions with multiple multi-row formulae and filters in the books. Beverly and Hillary are our two names. And if you don't understand, yeah, that's fine.